Hey, Merry Christmas Eve, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays to everybody. It's Thursday here. We are a little bit off schedule this week due to the holidays, so appreciate the patience here in this kind of very last couple weeks of the year, but did want to make sure with some things going on, some things to talk about, that we are at least kind of keeping you up to date here. So thanks as always for joining us again this week and next week for New Year's Eve. We're going to be a little off of our 3 p.m. schedule, but we will still be here just to kind of share what we're watching. So this week has been, so first off, the holiday weeks as we get towards the end of the year are typically going to be a little slower in the markets. That said, there was still quite a bit of news. First off, on Monday, we had this big news coming out of the UK about a potential kind of new 2.0 strain of the coronavirus. So this was huge. It was a big concern. On top of that, there was a significant change in the shutdowns over there. And then what we saw was actually before the stock markets had opened on Monday morning, we had this huge drop in the futures. Come open, we were down to, I think, like about 1% or so, and then we ended up actually closing the day not too bad, which was very exciting to see, because at the start of the news here around this new strain, it looked really bad and potentially a big change in this kind of market narrative that we've seen so far. So that was the big news, I think, right out of the gate here this week. Come Tuesday, we had the GDP revisions come out. Not a big difference here. GDP was up 33.4%. Keep in mind, again, that number is huge, but remember that's from crawling out of that big hole as we moved into Q2 with all the shutdowns. And consumer confidence came out at 88.6, a little lower than expected. Existing home sales, 6.69 million. I mean, the housing just continues to keep rolling. It wasn't a big beat on the expectations, just slightly, but it's just amazing. There seems to be no unforeseens in that area of the markets. Wednesday, just yesterday, we had quite a bit going on. So we had initial jobless claims come out. There was about 800,000 jobs lost. It's funny. It was good news. The markets actually liked it a little bit. It was better than the expectation of about 875,000. But the truth is, this number is still really big. I mean, if we go back a few weeks ago, we were finally trending down and keeping below the 800,000 mark. We were more in the 700s. Now, as we've started to see shutdowns pick back up and restrictions kind of come back into place, we've started to see these these initial jobless claims kind of spike again here a little bit. Hopefully that slows down. It was a good thing versus the expectations, but still this number is higher than what we'd like to see as we try and get back to some sort of norm here. Personal income was down about 1.1%. Spending was down about 0.4%. I think those are actually pretty important numbers, especially during the holidays. Now, this is a little dated, so bear with me a little bit, but the spending and the income are a big driver. We've always talked about sales being a huge driver for our economy. So we really need to see that pick up, and to see it drop is not ideal. So hopefully that will pick up here soon. We also had inflation numbers come out. For those who follow this pretty regularly, I've been pounding the table on inflation for a while. The surface level shows 0, but remember that inflation measure is looking at things like traveling and things like that we aren't spending money on. So keep that in mind when you look at these inflation numbers that are being reported, is that they're going to include a basket of goods and services that we aren't even using these days. What else? Let's see. So the other thing that I think was really important that came out yesterday was that there seemed to be some sort of agreement around a stimulus bill. I think it was like $600 for individuals. There was a lot of other stuff sprinkled in there, but that looks like it may be shut down. It looks like they are looking for a little bit more. So hard to say. I think it was Trump specifically who had said that they may kind of shut that down without a little bit more on the table. So it will be interesting to see what comes out of that. That's been the talk for like the last 2-3 weeks here. So, keep an eye on the stimulus bill. I think the market, to be honest, is to some degree priced in some level of stimulus. If it's more than expected, we might see kind of a quick little bump. If it keeps getting delayed, obviously the markets may not like that either. But I think to some degree, some of the stimulus has been priced in a little bit. So we had a short day in trading today. That's why I'm here a little bit earlier than normal. It's only 11 o'clock here Pacific time, but markets closed at 10 a.m. Tomorrow markets are closed. Moving into next week, again, this week especially, trading volumes are significantly lower than what we typically see. So we didn't see a whole lot of movement one way or the other this week. You know, it's kind of a slow burn up, I guess, if anything. That might continue into next week. Usually until the new year, markets are a little bit slower, trading's a little bit slower. But next week, as we get towards the end of the year, a lot of times we'll start to see the big money start to rebalance and start to move a little bit and take some out in preparation for the following year. So pay attention to that. You know, there may be some big movements, but again, generally speaking, trading is going to be a little light because we have, you know, another holiday right around the corner where the markets will be closed again next week on Friday as well. So some things to really keep an eye out for, you know, as we move into next week. Like I mentioned, it'll be a little shorter week in the markets, but we have pending home sales on Wednesday. We got the initial jobless claims on Thursday. And then, of course, New Year's Eve and Friday is a holiday again. So here we are. It's almost 2021. It's hard to believe how quickly this year has kind of come with everything going on. I'm sure everybody is ready to put this year behind us. So, you know, celebrate with family, enjoy this time here as we move into 2021. I want to wish you guys all, you know, again, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, a Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy your time, hopefully with friends and family, being safe. And we're going to skip the question of the week this week. But for anybody who has questions or would like to hear us cover anything differently in the weeks ahead, feel free to email us, info@mainsailfg.com. Again, info@mainsailfg.com. Happy holidays to everybody. Take it a little easy on the eggnog, and we will see you next Thursday.